Welcome to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. I'm RJ.
And I'm Court.
We are two lifelong fans of Disney parks and all theme parks.
Each week we bring you the latest news from Disney parks and beyond.
Plus, this week we'll be continuing our top things to know before you go Disney World edition, and we'll be talking about the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a bit of an overview of the Magic Kingdom, kind of what to expect, what each land kind of feels like, a few attraction things, and a little bit of top threes.
That's right. It's episode number 4.
Kicking off with the news this week, Universal Orlando will now be offering a shuttle service from Orlando International Airport. The service rolled out actually last year. However, this new service, customers can catch a shuttle from a counter rather than a storefront. The price is still $35 per person for the service for a round-trip service.
Which is not terrible, but it's interesting to me that Universal hasn't done what Disney has done with the Magical Express and just include, if you're staying on property,
you get a free trip.
Just include it in the cost. So that's not bad, though, compared to a lot of the other shuttle services or an Uber or a taxi or whatever else.
I don't know if an Uber would be as expensive, but definitely taxi and shuttle services are.
It's not terrible, but it's good to see them do that. And again, they need to just roll that into the resort costs.
Yeah, include it with your on-site hotel because it just makes so much sense. But I think the only reason Universal isn't doing it is because they're not as big on, or they don't have as much where you can spend as much time.
True.
On resorts. So I think at this point, with a few expansions later on in the future, some new rumors that are floating around, later on we might be seeing a complimentary one, an included one, I should say.
Yeah. Well, and like we talked last week about the number of rooms, they're slowly kind of climbing up.
Oh, they're getting there fast,
but they're still not there. So it's understandable to not have the whole bus service running for that, for fewer number of people coming. So
yeah,
in the future, hopefully.
Yeah. Sticking with Universal, but going over to Hollywood, Universal Hollywood has added free parking to its Gold Pass holders and front of the line passes for all attractions and shows to its Platinum annual pass holders. The only fine print in this situation is that Platinum pass holders can only use the front of the line pass once per day.
Still pretty good.
That was very good,
even for once a day.
Yeah. If I lived out there and got
to have your one ride, you got to ride every time you go.
Yeah,
use it to get to the front of that one.
Yeah, right away. Or with the new, because they just opened up Harry Potter over there. They have Hogsmeade and Hogwarts over there. Just opened that up in April of this year.
So I'm sure the lines are nice and long.
Oh man, this is actually why they're rolling it out, encouraging pass holders to come there more so now because
keep their pass holders happy.
Well, yeah. Beyond that, tourists are all over that place right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's insane.
Yeah,
pass holders aren't going nearly as much, so this is a little incentive to, hey, we'll give you free parking.
No, it makes sense.
And hey,
you get to the front of the line once per day.
You can get to the front of the main Harry Potter attraction. I always forget the name of it. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That's
there you go, yeah.
Boom. First time.
People be screaming at their phones again.
Every episode. We got to
keep something going.
You got to keep them happy. The Exorcist has been announced for Halloween Horror Nights, both at Universal Studios Orlando and over at Hollywood.
Again, bringing out a movie property, horror movie property. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's always.
Wonder if they'll have a reenacted exorcism going on that you walk by.
I imagine they will.
Get puked
on. Sticking with a little Halloween theme. Knott's Berry Farm has announced returning scare zones for this year's Knott's Scary Farm, which is its 44th season, which is really quite a long time. That's impressive. Including Ghost Town Streets, Fiesta de los Muertos, and Carnival.
Carnival.
I love puns.
Puns.
Theme parks are the best places for puns, man.
Seriously.
So like I said, this is the 44th season of Knott's Scary Farm, and they actually promised some more, quote, spine-tingling news soon.
Oh.
So stay tuned next week. We'll
They've
have
been doing
some
a lot over there at Knott's.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not Scary Farm. I had an opportunity to go there a couple of years ago. It's pretty comparable to, like, I mean, have you ever been to Anderson Farms out here?
Yeah.
Kind of terror in the corn
maze, yeah.
Yeah, it's comparable to that. It's nowhere near, like, the scare factor of Halloween Horror Nights.
I was about to say, okay, yeah.
But it's scarier than, like, Disneyland stuff.
Okay, which Disneyland stuff is aimed predominantly to children.
Yeah. Well, here in the States, over at Hong Kong, it's not so much, which is pretty cool, and I wish they would bring that over here. But future episode. Going back over to Florida, Disney's Hollywood Studios has announced some menu changes and will no longer be offering turkey legs. Talakia Legs Turkey Company on Sunset Boulevard will be rethemed to the Sunshine Day Cafe. I like this change only because I can pronounce Sunshine Day Cafe a lot easier.
I thought you misspelled something because it was underlined, like, hey, fix this. And I'm like, are you going to fix it?
No, that's the way it's spelled.
Okay.
But Sunshine Day Cafe, while the menu hasn't been announced yet, it's looking like turkey legs will no longer be offered starting August 1st.
All right. Let's just have a moment of silence for turkey legs.
I agree.
And the moment's over. I guess I can't blame them. It is nice to see more food options coming into Hollywood Studios.
Oh, yeah.
But turkey legs are kind of a fixture of the parks. But you brought it to my attention that I guess Animal Kingdom...
Yeah, Animal Kingdom actually quit serving turkey legs back in March.
Oh.
So
apparently there's a move away from turkey legs.
I'm disappointed.
They better not leave the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, or I'll be really sad. Or we'll be going out before they go.
I don't know. I think they're such a staple over at Disneyland, at least. Like we were talking earlier. There was one time when me and a friend were out there, and we were walking behind Big Thunder, and there's a turkey leg cart right there, and we hadn't had dinner yet, and we were waiting for Fantasmic. Fantasmic was coming up. We had our fast passes and everything, and we're like, hey, let's eat a turkey leg. It's like $8.
It's a full meal.
Yeah, it fills you up for $8.
Leg.
It's good. And then we went and sat down, and we were there like an hour before the show started. Everyone around us, they were like, where did you get that turkey leg? I want those turkey legs.
They sell turkey legs here?
Where are they at? And, everybody was there in a group, so they had a designated turkey leg runner.
Guy walked around with 6 turkey legs.
One guy came back with about 5 turkey legs.
That's awesome.
And there was like a radius of like 8 people near us that just had turkey legs.
It's kind of contagious.
Oh, it smells so delicious, especially if you're hungry.
Fried turkey leg.
Oh, man. It's sad that they're leaving.
It is a little sad.
But, I mean...
I haven't taken advantage of it, so I can't totally blame them either.
Yeah, no. Sticking to Orlando, but moving over to SeaWorld. SeaWorld Orlando has announced an all-new summer soak party, taking place daily until August 14th, then on weekends from August 15th through Labor Day at SeaWorld's Bayside Stadium from 12 to 6 p.m. There will be sprinklers, rain curtains, DJs, dancing parties, and massive discounts on food and beverages, including $1 cotton candy, $1 popcorn, $3 bottled beer, and free beer daily for SeaWorld Pass members through August 31st, and much, much more.
What?
Yeah.
That is massive.
It's ridiculous.
That is massive discount. That is $1?
$1 for cotton candy.
Free beer if you have...
Well, okay, so you get, it's one free, I believe it's a 12-ounce beer per day, and it's just a Mako, it's the Mako brew.
Free.
Yeah, it's free. I mean...
I don't care if it was a 6-ounce, it's free.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's over at Club Cool at Epcot claiming free drinks.
Drinking the free Beverly.
You know? People are going to start saying, hey, people are going to start Snapchatting their friends or whatever and being like, oh, I'm at Club Cool. And someone's over at a SeaWorld like...
Getting their free beer.
I got free beer, man.
Yeah. Forget free Coke. Free beer.
Let's go. Yeah, but the only downside to that is, I mean, it's going to bring in a lot of crowds, one.
Yeah.
And two, I wonder if they're going to run out of stuff, which I could see it happening.
Limited quantity kind of situation.
I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. SeaWorld's really pushing this after hours kind of hangout party thing with Aquatica that we announced last week.
Seems like all the parks kind of are as we've talked through the news the last couple of weeks. Seems like a lot of the parks, Disney, Orlando, or Universal, SeaWorld, all of them are kind of pushing more and more
after hours kind of
nighttime activities.
Stuff, which it's kind of surprising that it's this late in the summer.
Yeah,
but I mean, better late than never.
Yeah.
Heck, I'd go out to SeaWorld for $1 cotton candy.
That's all it took to get you there.
Yeah, why not? It's $1. It's better than McDonald's. Come on.
It's true.
Sticking over in Florida, but moving over to Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens Tampa has announced the popular Unearthed Maze will be returning to Hallowscream 2016.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. They haven't announced any details with this yet. Just that it's returning.
Did they have it last year?
They did have it last year.
And it wasn't like it went away and then they're bringing it back.
No. They had it last year and it was extremely popular. So I just see them making it a little bigger, a little better, a little scarier.
Yeah. You'd hope they'd improve over the years.
Oh, yeah. Which I think they will. But it's always nice to see some things returning.
Yeah.
Moving on over to the Magic Kingdom, the Skipper Canteen in Adventureland at the Magic Kingdom has gotten a new menu this week. Not a whole lot has changed on it, but a few of the more adventurous options have been removed in favor of noodle salad, beefy baked pasta, and whole fried fish. But don't lose hope, brave adventurers. Many of the favorites still remain on the menu.
Yeah, I can't blame them.
Nah.
There was some interesting stuff on that initial menu.
There was a lot of really interesting things. But
which is good that they're trying that, but...
Oh, yeah.
You got to look at your audience.
Yeah, you're in a theme park. But I mean, from all of the locals and all the critics that like initially reviewed it, they loved it.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
It was a massive hit because it wasn't standard theme park food.
Yeah, which is...
And it's still not really just your typical theme park food. They're just putting those options in there for those that don't want to have like calamari.
Yeah, which isn't that adventurous really, but...
No, I mean, but...
Still, yeah. These are things that people can recognize at least or understand.
Yeah, and I mean, you also look, Disney World is the vacation destination in the world.
Well, a lot of people are going to have kids in tow, too.
That's true.
So most kids are going to love a beefy baked pasta or, I don't know about the whole fried fish, but a beefy baked pasta, Wow. Beefy baked pasta. That's hard to say.
Yeah, try saying it 3 times fast.
Hopefully you don't have to order it 3 times.
Oh, man.
Beefy baked pasta. Beefy baked pasta.
And another beefy baked pasta. Sticking over at Disney World, but moving over to Epcot, the Chase Lounge will return for this year's Epcot Food and Wine Festival. Chase debit and credit card holders will have exclusive access to a lounge on the 3rd floor of the American Adventure Pavilion in World Showcase daily from 11 a.m. until park close. The lounge will offer complimentary non-alcoholic refreshments, charging stations, and other amenities.
2 very important things. Charge your cell phone and cool down.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a Chase card?
I do not.
No, I don't know if I do right now.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If you were there.
If I was there.
Just get one. Open it up
not,
and then
hop to the lounge, yeah.
Although, when I go, I normally get into a different lounge.
Yeah.
That we'll probably talk about on a future episode. But that one's pretty nice. Exclusive ride time on there as well.
That's right.
It's sweet.
Corporate sponsorships, man.
Oh yeah, always beneficial when you have connections.
That's right.
Disney has updated the My Disney Experience app to now include step-by-step instructions for navigating throughout the parks.
Not something I'll use, but I could see that being helpful.
I could see it being helpful for, I would say, the foreign market visiting Disney World.
Yeah. I could also see certain parts like Animal Kingdom.
Oh, I always get lost there.
Yeah, I feel get lost. And I've been there a couple dozen times, and it's like, where am I going?
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's really cool. It speaks wonders of the park because that's
Which is
the
kind of
main
the
goal
idea
of the park.
But at the same time, when you're trying to get to somewhere for a fast pass or a lunch or whatever, you're like, what's the best way to go about this? So
How do I navigate
maybe I will
this
use it.
part?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
kind of nice.
I don't know. I'm a big map guy. I like
The paper
grabbing
map,
maps. Yeah, I like the paper maps. I mean, I keep all the maps that I go, or whenever I go, I keep the maps that I take. So it's more than just a navigation tool to me. It's a bit of a souvenir.
That's true.
So I don't see myself using this a whole lot, but it definitely has.
It could come in handy though. If you're trying to find a pathway to something, or
yeah.
I don't know.
Which I don't know. I don't know if it's optimized for the shortest distance though.
Probably not. It's not Google. It's not Waze. Waze for the Disney experience. Traffic obstruction ahead.
Navigate through Liberty Square as opposed to
It'd be awesome if it did.
That'd be great. Oh man, let's get on that. We just need to take their source code and write our own stuff.
That's right.
There you go. Make it better.
We're so programmy.
Hey, I mean, you can learn. It's not that hard. Over at Disney Springs, Uniqlo has opened up, and this massive store offers many unique Disney and non-Disney clothing items such as shirts, shoes, pants, accessories, and a whole lot more. They had a bunch of...
It does look like a lot.
They had some plushed animals, plushed Mickey stuff, with really cool designs on them. Uniqlo is actually currently the largest store at Disney Springs, and will be the perfect place for any Disney fan who's looking for some new clothes that aren't a theme park.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I saw, was that their unique designs are a little more subtle Mickeys. They're not like, this shirt that's just straight a giant Mickey on
Mickey
the shirt.
Mouse.
But it's a lot more stylish clothing, I would say, even too.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like an Old Navy or an H&M or one of those, and just with Disney elements in it.
With a Disney emphasis on it.
Yeah.
I like this.
I like the look, yeah.
The videos I've seen of it are really good. I mean, I will definitely spend some time in there next time I'm out there.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll definitely be spending a lot of money in there next time I'm out there.
Oh, by the time we get back out there, too, Disney Springs is going to be,
Oh, it's going to be complete.
Yeah.
And everything's going to be up and running, but this will definitely be probably my first stop, if not my last.
Oh, yeah.
It'll either be my first or my last one, depending on what I do when I'm there.
True.
But it looks... It's modern enough, and it like you said, it is subtle.
Yeah.
That it's not like, oh, I have a Space Mountain t-shirt where it's strictly Space Mountain. And it's also reasonably priced.
It was, from the prices we saw in that video walkthrough.
Yeah, they're like $15 for a t-shirt.
For a shirt, which is, again, kind of the Old Navy, H&M, maybe a little more, but...
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No, I am too.
And our last bit of news this week, Disneyland has celebrated its 61st anniversary on July 17th with a short parade down Main Street, including the Disneyland Band, and a cast of 61 Disney characters at the Disneyland train station.
Wow, happy birthday, Disneyland.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You look pretty good for 61.
Yeah, still celebrating their 60th, though.
I know. It's kind of funny how that... well, because they kind of started it at the 59th, into the 60th, and now into the 61st.
They did expand it a bit. I think it's wrapping up around sometime in September, I think.
Okay.
That's when it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it'll...
Get it through a couple summers of the big traffic.
Yeah, they want... And I think they want to just roll right into the Halloween stuff.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So
make it easy.
Yeah, I don't think they want to...
Do both themes, yeah.
Yeah, kind of either have the 60th and then a little break in the action where they just take down all the stuff and then back to normal Disneyland, and then a couple weeks later bring out the Halloween stuff.
True.
So
that makes sense.
It just makes more sense to do it this way. Well, that just about does it for our news this week.
All right, stick around. We'll be talking about the Magic Kingdom. All right, we're back. Today we're running down the Magic Kingdom
and Disney World.
I mean,
because Magic Kingdom started Disney World.
Yeah, and so this is kind of the continuation again of our things
list
to know before you go Disney World edition. And the idea is to kind of give you a history, our favorites, some debate.
just a little bit of history. We're not deep diving into this
we could go into all sorts of history.
There's a ton.
A lot of history in the last
30, 40 years.
40 years.
45 years.
45 years now. Yeah.
So
I mean, we're going to give you a little bit of a history. We're going to talk about kind of the layout of Magic Kingdom.
Give you a little bit of an overview of each land, tell you what each land is themed for and how it achieves that theme.
And then we're going to give you some of our top threes in some categories. So
yeah, some must-dos.
Yeah.
If you want to go that route.
Absolutely.
For us, at least.
Yeah, for us. And that's always independent on you and your preferences. So, Court, why don't you give us a little history on the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the Magic Kingdom and Disney World as a whole actually opened up on October 1st of 1971. And it was the first theme park at Disney World, Magic Kingdom was. And it was the second Disney park.
It still
blows my mind.
It does, yeah. I mean, think about that.
My entire life, we've always had Disneyland and World.
At minimum, yeah.
Yeah, at minimum, those two. And I think Disneyland Paris, even, it used to be called Euro Disney.
Disney.
Till like the 2000s, early 2000s or something like that. But yeah, I haven't been alive without these two at a
Neither
minimum.
have I.
So I mean, yeah. It opened with 23 attractions,
which is kind of low. We were kind of talking about it earlier. We were trying to think if there was another park, a major theme park that is that low in attraction
that currently has that attraction level. Which I do think, I think Shanghai Disneyland might be there, around there, but those attractions that it does have are incredible. Yeah. They're incredible looking. And we were saying maybe Universal Hollywood just because of the layout of the park
and just kind of how they're kind of crammed in the side of a mountain
and how much emphasis they put on their backlot tour.
Yeah,
which is their main draw there. Which
that's what I remember of that park. So yeah.
But those 23 attractions were spread out only over 6 lands. Each land had a different theme. And Magic Kingdom, just this one park, has been the most visited theme park in the world for 11 consecutive years.
I had to kind of let that sink in and think about that and think about the sheer number of theme parks that are out there.
Yeah.
And the fact that a single theme park has held that for 11 years.
11 years.
Is pretty intense.
It's pretty mind-boggling, and it's an impressive feat. I mean, you think the Orlando area alone, you have Disney World right there, which has 4 parks in itself. You have Universal Orlando, which has 2 parks in itself. You have SeaWorld. You have Busch Gardens a little bit of a drive,
but still in the area.
Yeah, but still in the area. And then you have water parks right there. There's Wet and Wild. There's Aquatica.
There's Orlando Eye. There's
so many things to do in that one area.
Little parks and other entertainment things too. It makes me think how many people come to the area annually too.
Oh yeah, and people come from all over the world to this one spot. And when they come, they got to do Disney World and they got to do Magic Kingdom because, like we said in a prior episode, this is the park you think of when you think of Disney World.
This is definitely the iconic park
of Disney
World.
And yeah, I mean, it's mind-blowing to think that it's held that for 11 years. I think some recent estimates in 2015, it hosted 23.5 million people in 1 year.
I'm sure some people who went around Christmas time were like, yeah, I was there with all those people, but
I was there with at least half of them.
At least half of that people. Trust me, we were all in Space Mountain line forever.
It was a 300-minute wait. But now, Magic Kingdom boasts over 50 attractions in the same 6 themed lands.
Wow, that's a lot more.
There has been a little variation of the lands because they added one land a while back for, I believe it was Mickey's 45th birthday, 50th birthday. They added Mickey's Birthday Land, which then turned into Toontown Fair.
Okay.
But then they took that out and put Expanded Fantasyland, which was a good call on their part.
So then, speaking of the lands, so there's 6. What's kind of what's the layout of those, I guess?
So when you first enter Magic Kingdom, you hop off your monorail or your boat, and you walk up to the main gates, and then you go under the train station, under that bridge in that little tunnel, either on the right or the left. You're in Main Street USA right there.
Okay.
And then going left from Main Street USA, you hit Adventureland, and then Frontierland, and then behind the castle is Fantasyland, and then to the right of the castle, all of that is Tomorrowland.
And then there's kind of wedged in there is...
And then, kind of sneaking in there is Liberty Square. That's surrounded by Frontierland. If you're looking at a park map, Frontierland is on its left. Adventureland is kind of on its bottom left.
Yeah.
Fantasyland is on its top right.
To the top right.
And then the hub of the Magic Kingdom
is on its
right, directly there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into Main Street USA a bit?
Yeah. So I mean, Main Street USA is. I always kind of have a hard time describing it to people because it feels like an old timey downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess kind of the point of it is to feel like these shops and these, there's vehicles going by that are period appropriate, and
and you have horse-drawn trolleys.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is very turn of the century-esque.
And so we were kind of saying it's themed to Walt's childhood. Is that kind of what?
Well, that's what Disneyland was themed for, and over at Magic Kingdom, they wanted to kind of plus it, as Imagineers like to use or like to say. They wanted it to be bigger, kind of better, which that's up for debate if it's better, but it's definitely bigger.
Yeah.
That is just a hard fact, right?
I think you said earlier, scale even wise.
Yeah, it's full scale, so I mean,
instead of 5/8, is that what
I think Disneyland is like 5/8 or like some weird kind of it's just slightly over
weird
half
fraction, yeah,
slightly over half scale. But yeah, and if you look at the main Magic Kingdoms, which I mean in America they are Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom.
The Magic Kingdom, yeah.
So Disneyland Park, and if you look at their two main streets, they're very different architecturally.
See, and I guess I never noticed this. I feel like I've walked down both for so long, and I've noticed the theming, but I guess I've never seen them side by side or been off,
or kind of had it pointed out to you that like, oh, the Magic Kingdom of Disney World, it's got some southern influences.
Which once you say that and you think about it, you're going, I guess there are some different themes, and there's some different building types, and
just architecturally
it's definitely different.
It's different, and
as much as it's the same, it's also very different.
Yeah, and it's really cool because I mean, like you said, you didn't notice it. I didn't notice it whenever I walked through it until it got pointed out to me by someone, and then you're like, wow, they're like night and day.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a lot that you can compare between the Magic Kingdom of Disney World and Disneyland Park. But when it gets down to it, they're two completely different parks.
Yeah.
So you walk down Main Street USA.
Okay.
And you see that castle.
That's right, down at the end of the street there.
And you're drawn to the castle because your heart just wants to go there.
Your heart. That's kind of true.
And then you get into the hub. And the way that Magic Kingdom is set up, it's kind of like a wheel. So you have your main hub, and you have spokes going out, and each of these spokes leads to a land.
Okay.
So
yeah, I can picture it.
We're gonna hop over to the left.
Okay.
And
so
we're gonna head into Adventureland.
Adventureland. Okay.
Yeah. And each land is accessed from the hub by a bridge.
Okay. Yeah, because it's so much bigger than Disneyland Park.
Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are gonna make a few comparisons to Disneyland because
it was the original, and so
yeah.
I think probably the biggest thing that that you realize is that in 1955 they opened Disneyland Park, and in 1971 they opened the Magic Kingdom, and they've obviously learned some lessons. They had a lot more space to work with the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's a lot of similarities, but like you said, they're kind of night and day in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, when you get down into the details of each park, they're completely different.
Yeah,
but they're similar enough that a lot of people like to do
layout and
comparisons.
in the lands. There's an Adventureland in each park. There's a Tomorrowland in each park.
Yeah, all the lands are the same except for there's no New Orleans Square in Magic Kingdom at Disney World.
And there's no Liberty Square.
And there's no Liberty Square at Disneyland.
It's kind of the swap between the two.
And there's no
Toontown
at Disney World. And there is a Toontown over at Disneyland.
So Disneyland's 7 lands.
And depending on when you're listening to this, there's no Star Wars Land at Magic Kingdom.
True, too.
And there is Star Wars Land at Disneyland.
Yeah, at some point there will be. So Adventureland, this is kind of themed to, like, you feel like you go into the jungle. You kind of go over that bridge. There's a wooden bridge. There's a sign that says Adventureland. There's, like, African kind of battle masks, I guess, or war masks is what they'd be called. And
I
there's
would say
spears up on there, and you start hearing distant drums, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm ready for an adventure.
Something's happening here. You feel like you're jumping into an adventure right here.
And you described it best as like you feel like you're walking in the jungle too. There's a lot more heavy vegetation than in the rest of the park.
It is very densely forested over here. And it's not like kind of mountainy forest. It's very tropical.
Jungle feeling.
Yeah. And it's almost like the architecture styles of the buildings are very, I would say, Polynesian.
I would say in some areas they are, and then in other areas they feel very themed to other parts of the world that would be adventure. So you have the Tiki Room, which is one of the attractions in there, and that's themed very Polynesian, obviously.
Oh, extremely, yeah.
But then you also have Aladdin's area where there's the flying carpet ride.
Yeah, and it's very
Middle Eastern
Middle Eastern kind of
theme. So stone buildings
but still
a bazaar and that kind of feeling.
But still very exotic feeling.
I think that's definitely the area. That's a good way to describe the whole area is its exotic feeling.
To Americans, at least.
Because then you get down to Pirates of the Caribbean kind of at the end of Adventureland, and you have, again, kind of theming of like the Caribbean.
Which is
like a port.
Very close to Florida. So,
yeah.
I mean, originally they didn't want to put pirates in that park, but by popular demand, it got put in. So, and I mean, there are a few attractions in here.
Yeah.
Which, do you want to jump into those?
I guess we could just give them a quick rundown. So you have the Swiss Family Treehouse,
which is a walkthrough attraction.
There's a walkthrough attraction, one of the few that Disney does and has kept.
Which needs to bring some more over there, Disney. Come on, I want some more walkthroughs. I like taking my time.
This is themed obviously to the movie. Then you have the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which is
it's kind of a Dumbo clone.
So it's a ride that spins, and you're on an arm of the spinner, and you go up and down.
You can adjust your height.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that's kind of sitting in the middle. And then you have the Jungle Cruise, which is the iconic. There's a poster above my shoulder here of it, and it's kind of the iconic one. The jokes and
the cheesy jokes, and it's
cheesy jokes.
It's I'd say it's probably the icon of Adventureland.
Oh, definitely. Well, you could argue against the next one. Then is
or the Enchanted Tiki Room,
or even Pirates too.
That's true.
It's kind of it's kind of a toss up then.
There are those.
So you have the Enchanted Tiki Room, which is a bunch of animatronic birds singing songs.
It's very happy.
Very happy. Then Pirates of the Caribbean. Obviously,
it's a bit more of a thrill ride.
Thrill mixed with the dark ride elements, definitely.
Yeah, animatronic.
And then I guess you were telling me there's a new kind of walk-through adventure, kind of to explore Adventureland. Is that?
Yeah, it's this new thing. Well, it's new to us. It's been around for a little bit. We haven't experienced it.
Guess, there's a lot of things I haven't done.
They keep adding to it.
The wizard one, which is, by the way, is Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. We remembered as soon as we literally hit stop. We were like, oh, people are going to kill us, but we remembered.
Correction there. But this one is A Pirate's Adventure, Treasures of the Seven Seas. And you basically get treasure finder cards, which you can use to activate around Adventureland, and you can interact with some things around Adventureland.
And thinking back, I've actually seen some people playing this because all of a sudden, like a bird in a cage sitting, amongst the decorations, like interacts with them, and I'm like, whoa,
that happened.
How'd you do that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was this, but
it's one of those things to make you kind of look deeper into the land.
Which, as we've said, because PinQuest came up in the news a couple weeks ago, and as we've talked about with Agent P's over at Epcot, anything that gets you exploring the parks, if you're a regular visitor or if you've been there a lot, why not? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it encourages you to look at things you don't normally look at, which is always great because there is so much detail.
And it'll force you into areas you may never go. You may never realize there's a hallway or a corridor that goes that way or cuts through that land into another one or whatever else. So
yeah,
I'm all for that. And I now that I know it exists and what it was,
gonna go for it now.
I definitely go for it.
Yeah. And there is my main draw into Adventureland, at least, is Dole Whips.
Dole Whips.
And Citrus Swirls.
True.
Which this is the only land that you can get them in.
True. There's other places to get. There's only one other place I can think of to get it.
There is only one other place, which we'll talk about
Walt
a little
Disney
later,
World, but
which we'll talk about on a future episode.
Yeah.
But this is the only place.
And if you don't know what a Dole Whip is, it's basically
pineapple soft serve ice cream.
Yeah.
And you can get a float, which I always do.
With pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
Really good.
In pineapple. So it's pineapple soft serve ice cream.
It's a lot of
pineapple juice. It's delicious.
If you don't love pineapple, you won't be too impressed. But it's very good.
It is fantastic. But then if you follow the path through Adventureland and you
past pirates and kind of out,
you kind of stick out along. You don't go back to the hub. You just keep going. You're gonna hit Frontierland.
Yeah.
And Frontierland, it's very Old West.
So kind of 1800s, 19th century Western U.S. Kind of, we said like a Clint Eastwood movie. You feel like you're kind of stepping into a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, which is, I think, the best way to describe it. I think Splash Mountain kind of ruins the theming in this one, which is one area where I think Disneyland has it. Oh, Disneyland has another...
Critter Country. Man, they have a lot of stuff.
We forgot that land.
Wow.
We're amateurs,
People are screaming at us again.
Man. But
I could kind of see that. I don't disagree that Splash Mountain being cartoony.
Yeah.
It's a great thrill ride. It's a great ride.
Oh,
but
it's fantastic. I don't know where else you would put it if you didn't have a Critter Country.
Yeah.
If you don't have a Critter Country.
You don't. So that's kind of a hard one. It almost end up being kind of its own island out there somewhere. But
kind of just stick it on Tom Sawyer's Island. There.
Yeah.
Get people to go over there.
That's true. So the first one you come to is Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's a thrill ride.
It's a thrill ride. It's a log flume ride. Animatronic animals singing.
A lot of people don't go on it because they see the drop. It's like a 50-foot drop, something like that.
With a couple other small ones in the ride too.
And you don't get wet on the big one. You get wet on the other ones.
I know. Yeah,
little heads up there.
Yeah, it's not the big one you got to worry about.
It's the ones inside.
And don't be one of those people wearing ponchos. That just looks silly. Unless you're really scared of getting wet, then you can wear a poncho.
That's true. But a lot of people avoid Splash Mountain because of the drop, because they're like, oh, it's just, I don't want to go on that because I'm scared of this one drop. And even one of my friends, he refused to go on it until we kind of forced him onto it. He lost a bet.
Did the cast members look concerned when you were dragging a screaming man onto a ride?
He lost a bet, so we had to ride it at night, and there's nobody in line, so we kind of snuck him in there, kind of kept him distracted, which is very hard to do in that queue.
I was about to say.
Well, this is over at Disneyland, so it's a little easier over there. It's not as...
I guess, yeah. No, we're just going to go ride Pooh. Yeah, we're... I don't know how we got on Splash Mountain. That's weird.
We took a wrong turn somewhere. Oh, looks like you're sitting up front. But he refused to go on it, and then...
Because of the big drop?
Yeah, because of the big drop, because he was scared of that.
Oh.
Which it is, I think it's the biggest drop at Disneyland, because there is nothing else over there, and I think it's the biggest drop at Magic Kingdom. I think the biggest one on Space Mountain is
20, I can't imagine
maybe
that,
10 to 15 feet, something like that. But he refused to go on it, and then he rode it, and it's now one of his favorite attractions.
Oh, I love it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
and it's not just the one drop. There is probably there's some of the catchiest music in there.
Zippity doo da. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
nobody wants to hear us sing.
It's not what we're about.
So past Splash Mountain, then you kind of keep walking, kind of on that path that we kind of took out of Adventureland, and that takes you to Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, they're right next to each other in this park, which I love.
Yeah,
and hate, depending on when you go, because that area can be very congested.
Because people are looking for those two thrill rides at the same time,
especially early in the morning.
Yeah,
when people are trying to hit all three mountains before noon, and you're like, just let me ride Splash Mountain and get out of here.
Yeah.
or Big Thunder Mountain and get out of here because I have a fast pass plus.
And then kind of in the middle of Frontierland, you have Tom Sawyer Island, which is kind of I guess it is kind of almost a walkthrough, though.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
though we
it
kinda
is.
said-
I guess you can look at it that way. Yeah, I mean, I've
kind of
never thought of it that way.
Yeah, you kind of walk around the island. There's caves. There's all sorts
forts.
of
There's a fort. There's interactive things
There's
throughout the
like
island.
a rope bridge made of barrels. I mean, it's just
it's fun. You do have to take a boat over there though.
yes.
So it is.
There's
it
either
is
a
an
little
island.
ferry. There's either a little ferry, or you can you take the canoes, or the canoes are owned.
The canoes don't go there. They
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 go around.
circle it. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's like the Mark Twain.
Okay.
Or I guess
Never
it's
done
not
the
the
canoes.
Mark Twain.
I
It's
don't go on vacation to rowboats.
It's the Liberty Bell. It's the Liberty Bell over here.
That's
I guess.
right.
Something like that. But yeah, I mean, you have Tom Sawyer's Island right here too, and there is a train stop here.
Oh, for the railroad.
We
yeah.
did not mention this when we talked about Main Street USA.
Oh, that there is a train that goes around the entire park.
The entirety of
and
the park
has stops along the way, including Frontierland.
There's one in Frontierland and Main Street USA, and whenever we come to a new land, we'll tell you if there's a train stop
Yeah,
there.
there's not one in Adventureland.
Which is sad.
I know.
But it makes sense because,
Doesn't quite fit the theming.
well, it's not just that. If
It's
there
also-
was one there and there's one in Frontierland,
It's kind of close.
you're on the train for 30 seconds.
yeah.
Kinda-
So then
kinda
also in
useless.
Frontierland, you have Country Bear Jamboree, which is an interesting show. So it's an animatronic bunch of bears
yeah,
singing music.
singing country music,
Singing country
kind of
music.
folky music even.
Yeah.
It's a fun
It's
time.
a fun time. The animals on the wall come to life throughout the show.
And it's funny too.
It is funny. It used to be a much longer show, however, and it's been cut down pretty good.
They did recently cut it down a few years ago, but I think it still holds its heart the whole time,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
which is just great. And then in Frontierland, you have a few dining area options.
Yeah, and Adventureland, is there any other dining in? I guess not.
Well, there is
Dole
some.
Whip, but-
There's Dole Whip, which is the big one, which is the only reason you ever go to Adventureland to eat. But over in Adventureland, they do have some other dining areas. They just opened up the Skipper Canteen, which I've heard is
that's right,
fantastic. And then they have Tortuga Tavern, which is like barbecue sandwiches.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's one more. Yeah, the Sunshine Tree Terrace.
Which is where you can get a citrus swirl.
You can get your citrus swirl there.
and then they have some snacks, which typically
it's-
means like a bag of popcorn or something.
Or a Mickey bar.
Or a Mickey
or
bar. Yeah, something like that.
So Adventureland is mostly snack options. Frontierland has some actual dining areas.
That's true.
More so, they have the Golden Oak Outpost, which is a kind of chicken
Waffle fries.
Yeah, chicken and waffles fries. Close.
Not waffles.
It's close.
Not waffles. Waffle fries.
Which is it's a good combination, by the way. Chicken and waffles. If you haven't
It
had
is. No, it is.
if you haven't had it, it's fantastic.
And then you have the Pecos Bill, Tall Tale Inn and Cafe. It's kind of the kind of southwestern food, Tex-Mex,
Yeah.
nachos, fajitas, burritos, kind of that.
Yeah.
and with burgers too.
Yeah, and you can get your typical theme park food throughout all of these
And
lands.
then really the most important food, turkey legs, is also available
That's very true.
in Frontierland.
Turkey leg. You can get that at the Frontierland Turkey Leg Wagon.
Which is literally a little wagon sitting there.
It sells
that
turkey legs. And they're delicious. Worth it. Totally worth it.
If you've never had a turkey leg, you should definitely do it.
100%.
So then if you follow the path kind of out of Frontierland, you will eventually kind of run into Liberty Square. If you're
Yeah.
kind of following the rivers of America, the bank of rivers of America through.
You will be heading back into
Towards the hub.
towards the hub. You won't
Okay.
you won't go into the hub, but you feel like you're walking towards the castle because you are.
Yeah.
And then you hit Liberty Square. And in Liberty Square, Liberty Square, first of all, it's themed to colonial America.
That's right.
And there's a lot of history in there. And there's a lot of really cool details in there, which we'll talk about in a future
Yeah.
episode.
Definitely.
But here you have your kind of one of these attractions, at least to me, is a sleeper attraction. And that's the Hall of Presidents.
It is a little bit. I'm not
Heaven
going to lie.
forbid.
It's air conditioned. It's cool. It's a long show. It's a good piece of history, though.
Oh yeah, if you're a history buff and you enjoy American history,
one of the few places in the world where there's a U.S. presidential seal.
Yeah,
outside of Washington D.C.
Isn't it an official U.S.
It's one of the few official president seals in the carpet there in the entrance.
It's very impressive. It's
and
really cool.
There's pieces of presidential history and display cases, first lady dresses, and other items from presidents, and
it's really cool if you're a big history buff. I'm not a big history buff. The show is 22 minutes. My brother's a big history buff, so he likes to go on it, and we like to sit through it because he likes.
And it is interesting because it's all of the presidents together as audio animatronics,
and nobody's arguing.
Yeah. There's no political duels or going on or anything else. So
nobody's trying to.
A good piece of history. We've talked about kind of the educational piece, and I think this is one of those representations of the educational history of Disney.
Yeah, if I'm in the mood to learn something, which most of the time I am. It's just when I'm at a Disney park, I kind of want to ride Big Thunder Mountain as opposed to sit for 22 minutes.
Sit through all the presidents giving.
Unless it's like noon, and then I'll head in there
because it's a little hot.
It's kind of cool, and it is an entertaining show though. And then you also have the Liberty Square Riverboat, which is similar to the Mark Twain. I did call it the Mark Twain earlier. People were probably getting mad, but it's called the Liberty Bell. At Magic Kingdom, and this takes you around the rivers of America, around Tom Sawyer's Island, and there's you get to see some really cool things. There's some I know there's some audio animatronics along the banks of it, and there's a narrator the whole time taking you across all these rivers.
It's kind of a relaxing ride on a big paddle riverboat,
which we don't get to go on a whole lot.
No.
And then
probably the biggest attraction in Liberty Square,
is
the Haunted Mansion,
and it's great.
Yeah,
it's if you're familiar with the Disneyland one, this one's better.
Man, you're really gonna stir up some.
I know,
some
man.
Debates here,
some debates. People are gonna get angry, but this one has every room that the Disneyland one has, and more.
It's true. It's longer.
What more could you want?
It's true, and it's a great ride. If you don't kind of know what this is.
It's not scary.
This is Walt Disney's take on a haunted mansion, or haunted house kind of situation, but from a comical, musical standpoint, with a little bit of fright, but not, there's nothing popping out at you.
There are a few things popping out, but it's not like
it's not a haunted house. This isn't Halloween. You're not gonna, this isn't Halloween Horror Nights over, Universal. This is
over it. Yeah, it is a fun, entertaining, very stimulating attraction.
Yeah,
because it gets your senses going. I think it stimulates everything except for like touch.
Yeah. Don't reach out of the vehicle.
Yeah, keep your hands.
They'll stop the car.
It's very annoying, but it's great for those of us who aren't being yelled at.
The Doom Buggy.
They're fun. It's fun. And there's an announcer or a narrator going along with you through the Haunted Mansion, and it's a fun ride.
It's a great ride.
It's definitely worth a good wait.
Yeah. Also nice and cool in there too.
Yeah, extremely.
Because this is Florida we're talking about, so as long as you might be looking for air conditioning throughout the day.
Liberty Square, the air conditioning capital of Magic Kingdom.
There's also some really great restaurants. I mean, we don't need to run down all of them, I don't think, but
no,
there's definitely some, and we might get to some of them in our top 3. I know at least one of mine is.
Yeah, there's some sit-down restaurants in here, some quick service,
some snacks.
I want to count how many there are real quick. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 restaurants in there.
Wow.
And
it's a fairly small land. It's
probably the smallest land at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So
then if you're leaving Liberty Square, you can either go back into the hub or kind of follow through by the Haunted Mansion. And either way, you're going to probably end up in Fantasyland, which is kind of the... Again, to kind of call it the iconic land. This is kind of what you think of. These are the classic rides that have been around since
opening day.
Opening day,
really?
Yeah.
Some of them have.
These are kind of your more kid friendly rides. These are, I mean, not that those other ones haven't been kid friendly up to this point,
but they're more kid oriented.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking through the castle, I think at Disney World, if you're looking through the castle, they still have the carousel right there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
At Disneyland, they do. Disney World, no, it is. Yeah, it's
well,
right
I guess
there.
so. Yeah, I guess
it should be right there. Yeah.
I guess last time I was there, it was all under construction. Or a couple times ago, yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to go down the attraction list then.
Yeah.
You have Prince Charming's Regal Carousel.
Which is just that. It's just a carousel.
With some horses on it.
With some horses on it.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's all right.
My kids love it.
It's good at night.
Yeah.
And then you have Mickey's PhilharMagic,
which is a 3D movie experience. It kind of takes you through a lot of the Disney movies. If you're a big Disney movie buff fan,
you'd like it.
You'd like it.
This is worth it. I like it.
It's an entertaining show.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see Donald's butt. So what's better than duck butt?
Yeah. Yeah, Peter Pan's Flight. Again, talking about classic rides here.
Oh, this is it. This is one of them, actually. Yeah. It's not it. The one that is it.
Basically, kind of across from there, you have It's a Small World. Again, iconic classic ride.
Classic ride.
Then one of the newer attractions, Enchanted Tales with Belle. This is they have an audio animatronic dresser drawer. What's it? Chest
I think it's
drawer?
a wardrobe.
Wardrobe? Is that
I don't know her name. I don't know her name, but it's a wardrobe.
So you go in. It's kind of an interactive, again, very kid-centric, kind of sit down and do story time with Belle. Exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah,
I haven't done this yet, but
they have a live person come out, a live cast member come out and actually interact with you as Belle and go through the story with it. And
there's interactive pieces in the area, I think my understanding is too.
Yeah. It's very interactive, very kid oriented, and very it's fun.
Yeah. It looks fun.
It is the same story as Beauty and the Beast, but
retold by a
and they bring up people from the audience in your little group to actually act out in it.
That's fun.
So it's a good time.
Great, especially if you have a kid that loves
Beauty and the
Beast.
Yeah.
So then you have Undersea, The Journey of the Little Mermaid. This is a dark ride with audio animatronic fish and the mermaid, and kind of goes through the story. Really fun ride. I actually really enjoy this ride.
Oh yeah,
as much as it's kind of again kid centric, but it's still really fun and really good audio animatronics.
Oh,
too.
Fantastic audio animatronics! This is one of the newer rides in Fantasyland. It opened up with the new Fantasyland expansion.
Although I missed the swirl hair.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't though.
I know. Apparently
I missed it. I knew exactly what they were going for, and people were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, why does she have an ice cream cone on her head?
Darn Californians!
I know.
Complaining because the ride itself is an exact. I don't know if it's an exact clone, but it is a clone.
It's very close, if not exact. Yeah,
of the same ride over in California Adventure. Yeah, but that queue is much better than the one over in California Adventure. It is. It does have some interactivity in it.
Well, and even just the theming of that area versus the.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's great, and it does have some nods to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea,
which is what it kind of replaced.
It did replace that.
Yeah,
but it's still pretty cool to see those nods.
Then you have an opportunity to meet Ariel there
in Ariel's grotto.
Yeah. Then you have, again, similar, you have Pete's Silly Slideshow, which is just a meet and greet for Donald, Daisy, Goofy, and Minnie.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice meeting characters, especially if your kids are into them. And there is a Disney World Railroad station here.
Yep.
As well.
It's
in the new part of Fantasyland.
It's over by Dumbo and the Barnstormer, which we're going to talk about here in a second.
Yeah, and then there's also Casey Jr.'s Splash and Soak Station,
which is just that it's a water play area with music and
it's a great place to cool off, even if you're not under the age of 5. It's worth it in the middle of Florida summer
when it's hot out.
Hit it.
So then right over there, too, is the Barnstormer, which is a short little roller coaster. Good for kids, kind of a good intro to roller coasters, I think. But really pretty thrilling.
Yeah, it has.
It's a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. I remember I pulled up the GoPro and I was holding it kind of a selfie mode and thought, oh, that was it? When it was over. But it was really fun. It's usually a short queue, too, because it's kind of off to the side. So
not a whole lot of people like to go there.
Yeah.
And when
it's kind of hidden behind Dumbo a little bit, too.
Yeah. And when you look at the majority of the people walking around Fantasyland, they're all pushing strollers. You're not going to bring your
your under 2-year-old onto the Barnstormer,
which it does have a height restriction of 35 inches,
which is actually fairly short for kind of a good intro roller coaster if you have got a kid.
Yeah, definitely. It's very similar to Gadget's Go Coaster over in Disneyland.
Yeah, I noticed that too when I went on it. I was like, oh, this seems familiar.
This is very close.
So then right over there in that same area you have Dumbo the Flying Elephant, which is
it's used in every single Disney World advertisement, I think. Just commercial, I think, at least. This is it's a spinning ride, but it's not
sitting
like
in a Dumbo.
It's not intensive spinning.
No, you're just going around in circles and kind of going up and down as you control your
Dumbo. Yeah. And you're on.
And again, if you have any questions about any of these rides, just YouTube search them, because you'd be amazed at the high quality video. The
there's a ton. Or email us and we'll send you links to places where you can get
because if you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, I didn't know that existed. All of this has been videoed by somebody, if not even us. So.
Yeah. So if we've got it, we'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Or we'll find it for you.
Yeah.
Sticking over there's the Mad Tea Party, which is teacups,
and that is
can
be an intense spinning.
It can be very enjoyable
if you're like me and your stomach doesn't like it. You might want to avoid that one.
Yeah, you can get away with not spinning a whole lot.
Yeah, because you are in control of your personal teacup spinning, but you're spinning through the entire
time.
Yeah.
Or if you're like my little brother.
See how fast you can spin it?
You see how many times you can spin around.
Oh, man.
And then see if you can make our older brother try to puke.
Ugh. Yeah, not my favorite, but it's a good one.
And then there's a Fairy Tale Garden, which is basically it's a meet and greet where you can encounter fairy tale friends in a garden setting.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I don't think you can see princesses here, can you?
I am not sure.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been over there. So.
And then you have the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which is a dark ride.
Yeah.
A story basically through Winnie the Pooh.
A very trippy dark ride.
Yeah, it is very trippy. There's some interesting lighting and some
interesting effects.
Yeah.
Interesting color choices.
Yeah.
And then you have the bigger coaster in here, the newest coaster at Disney, at Magic Kingdom. I think in Disney World and overall right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which
really good ride.
There is a height restriction of 38 inches on this one, which is still very...
It's fairly short.
It's not very tall.
Yeah.
It is only 3 inches taller than the Barnstormer, so...
And this is a really interesting coaster.
This is a midway coaster is what I want to describe it as.
Because it's got elements of a dark ride.
Yeah.
Mixed with coaster.
But the coaster isn't extremely thrilling, so it's not as thrilling as, like, Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
But it's not as tame or as mild as Barnstormer.
No, definitely. I mean, it's kind of you're right. It's kind of a midway of like thrill and dark ride and speed wise. And
if your kid loves Barnstormer but is either too short or too scared to go on like Space Mountain or
Big Thunder, definitely an option.
See if they'll go on this, because if they like this, then you might have a coaster freak on your hands.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
next thing you know, they're sitting in somebody's basement making a podcast.
And then you have Princess Fairy Tale Hall is the last attraction over here, which is meet and greet with a rotation of princesses.
Yeah.
And
so it makes me wonder if Fairy Tale Garden is not maybe Tink.
I think it might be more of a walk-through thing where you can see like sculptures of it, because over at Disneyland they have something similar like that.
Oh yeah,
where you can see like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and like this is where the wishing well is, and kind of that type of deal.
So then for restaurants, again, kind of a variety between, well, in this one you have a really fancy one, which we'll talk about at a later time.
Yeah.
Down to, again, snacks, and then kind of the middle ground of like a quick service.
There are 8 restaurants total in Fantasyland. It is a ton. Fantasyland is by far the biggest land, because this is where people go with their kids, is to Magic Kingdom.
And they just expanded it recently, a couple of years ago. And
it has some fantastic dining in there. I know one of them made my top 3 list, later on in this episode.
I definitely considered one of them for my top 3 too. So
it's good. And then if you keep going, or did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say that there's other experiences too. Because there's like the Bippity Boppity Boutique, which is an opportunity if you have a little prince or princess that wants to get all dressed up and get their hair done and get makeup on and all that and play prince or princess for the day.
Yeah, this is the place to do it.
And we kind of forgot about that. In Adventureland, there's a pirate version as well.
There is a pirate version of that where if you got a little youngster who wants to get all piratey for the day.
Ages 3 to 12. They wouldn't let me do it.
Shucks.
I know.
And there is souvenirs in all of these lands as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Every single land you can find something.
Absolutely. If you're looking to buy stuff, Disney will be there to help you.
No, they would be glad to help you. I think all the lands have some pins for sale as well in every land.
Oh, yeah.
So then, if you keep going around, you hit Tomorrowland.
That's right.
My personal favorite land.
Me too. Obviously, why we picked this music.
Yeah.
If you've been listening and you're wondering, this is Tomorrowland kind of area music.
Which is just great. I could listen to it all day.
I could too. I listen to it actually when I study and stuff. My wife's always looking at me like, what are you listening to? I'm like, Tomorrowland.
Okay. It's worth it. So the first attraction in here, I think it is even the first attraction if you come in from the hub, is Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor.
Is it?
It's either that or Stitch.
It's one of those two because they're in that building right there.
Well, they're right across from
each other. Yeah, so Monsters, Inc.
Which, this is pretty cool. So at the end of Monsters, Inc.
Spoiler alert.
Hashtag spoiler alert. It's been out for a while. Come on.
I'm just saying, you don't know.
That's true. At the end of Monsters, Inc., instead of using screams to power Monstropolis, they discovered laughter, and laughter is much more powerful than screams. So I believe it's Mike Wazowski. He opened up a comedy.
Mike Wazowski. So this is like a comedy club where they're bringing you into the world of Monsters, Inc., and you're there to laugh to help them power the city.
Yeah, and you can actually text in jokes. They
love all my dad jokes when I text them in. What do you call a cow with no legs?
What?
Ground beef.
What happens when a cow jumps over a fence? Utter destruction.
Oh gosh. I got to remember that one for next time I go.
It's pretty good.
This is a pretty good attraction. A lot of audience participation. There's like a camera that'll kind of pan the audience and pick people out, and you'll have to answer questions or dance or
there was one time when I was there, they picked on one guy and he would act very surprised. Very surprised. What? Me?
That guy.
And I mean, it's very enjoyable for younger kids. Even
I love it.
Even me.
I could do that all day. It's great.
It's a fun time. Very interactive. And it's different every time too.
Oh yeah, because you have different jokes. You have different people text in different stuff, and I think they mix up the show pretty good.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's very re-experienceable.
So then, like we said, across the way there is Stitch's Great Escape,
which is often said to be the worst ride, the worst attraction.
I could definitely not disagree with that.
Not just at Magic Kingdom, but at Disney World as a whole.
I would not disagree.
Which there is a height restriction on this one of 40 inches. Which I think that's just as low as the seat.
The seat bar will go down.
Yeah,
and then the other thing is that this is, I wouldn't say it's super scary, but for a kid, I could see this being absolutely terrifying.
There used to be something a lot scarier here.
I can remember that.
Which we will talk about on a future episode. And many people thought it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Which it probably was. I never got to experience
I did,
it,
and I can tell you, if that's what you're going for, it's to do that. But then this whole idea of Stitch, but we can get into that probably. We'll have a whole episode of maybe our...
Oh, we definitely will.
Our bottom three, so...
But I mean, this just as an overview, there are some scary undertones to it. But the whole premise of it is they're teleporting in a prisoner, which is Stitch at the beginning of before Lilo and Stitch. Yeah,
spoilers.
The spoilery episode.
And he breaks free, and it's 4D, so you feel him moving around or breathing,
and you don't have 3D glasses on at all.
Yeah,
it is an audio animatronic of Stitch, and there are some pretty cool audio animatronic effects in there, and
definitely
There's some air effects, but it's basically you're sitting in a dark room for 5 to 10 minutes, a couple minutes. But then sticking with Tomorrowland over there, it's not really over there. It's kind of in the back corner of Tomorrowland.
I don't know why they put that in this order, but
this map is kind of weird. Is the Tomorrowland Speedway?
That's right. You can drive a car.
Yeah. If you're over 32 inches to ride, 54 to drive.
Yep.
But
they don't go too fast.
Not really. Yeah.
But I remember as a kid thinking this was the greatest thing ever because all of a sudden you were able to drive a car. And do they still have the little driver's license too?
I don't think they do that anymore.
They used to.
Know
that was awesome.
I think they still do over at Disneyland.
I think I remember. Yeah, there's the Autopia thing, but
which, if you're expecting Autopia, stop. Don't expect this. It's basically a NASCAR. It's very NASCAR themed, I would say.
Yeah, they're little race cars. You drive around, and again, there's a guided track down the middle. You can deviate about 6 inches on either side of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you're going and the speed is fairly fixed.
It's
so.
like 8 miles an hour or something like that. It's very go-karty.
But for kids,
fantastic.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Either to ride along or once they hit 54 inches to drive.
And then right next to the Tomorrowland Speedway, you have the big one,
Space Mountain,
which is a 44-inch height restriction.
It's not too bad actually. 44.
No, it's really not at all.
A little under 4 foot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a fun ride.
Oh, absolutely great. So if you don't know, this is basically a roller coaster indoors in the dark, themed to space with music and
space travel. Well,
there's a poster over there behind you.
But that's the Disneyland one.
No.
Which
has a chocolate chip cookie.
Arguably is the better. They took out the chocolate chip cookie. Now it's just now it's an asteroid.
Lame.
And you can still see the silhouette of it. And I pointed out to my friends every time we ride it. They're like, "How can you see that?"
I know.
But there are 2 tracks in here, two roller coaster tracks, and there are some. It is a very thrilling ride.
It is.
It's
kind of the thrill of the unknown.
Yeah.
Until you ride it about 20 times, and then you're like, "Okay, we're gonna take a right, and then we're gonna take a left, and then we go woo woo woo."
If you're on this side of the mountain, you go left a lot. If you're on the other side, you go right a lot.
Yeah. I think we're going to talk about this one later because it's
we definitely will
come up again.
We definitely will be. And then kind of in the middle of Tomorrowland,
kind of almost as like
the focal point of Tomorrowland. If you enter from the hub, at least there's Astro Orbiter,
which is basically Dumbo on top of a building, but with rockets.
With really cool rockets,
and you get to ride an elevator up from the queue,
which is honestly one of the coolest things.
Actually.
It makes you feel like you're blasting off.
It does, and it's kind of a silly ride, but the reality is it's actually a really great view. One of my suggestions would be ride this at night.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful view of the Magic Kingdom, the castle all lit up.
Even just Tomorrowland at night.
Even Tomorrowland, because there's a lot of neon and there's a lot of cool lights in Tomorrowland.
You can just sit in Tomorrowland at night and be entertained, not even riding anything. It's really cool.
So then also in the middle is the People Mover.
The Tomorrowland Transit Authority.
People Mover. Excuse me. Presented by Alamo.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Corporate sponsorships.
It's the way to do theme parks.
So this is an interesting ride.
It is beloved by the Disney community.
Yeah, if you're a huge Disney fan, you're just going, "Yep, I love this, love it."
Yep.
And I'm one of those for sure. And again, this will come up
probably a little
later. Also, there's Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, which is something Walt created for the World's Fair.
Yeah.
And you kind of go basically through history with a family, and you kind of see how technology has changed their lives. And we've talked about it previously in the news as it's come up because they're repainting it.
Yeah, they got a new paint job on it. And I think it will go down here pretty soon for a refurb, but it's just like 2 days or something.
But this is a cool piece of history and a cool, again, kind of the educational piece too a little bit in there.
Yeah.
To kind of see the life of a family as it goes through kind of the periods of time.
Yeah, so you basically when you get onto this ride, you walk in and you sit down in kind of like theater seats.
Yeah.
And then the middle part doesn't rotate. You rotate around.
I know, it's just kind of
it's pretty cool.
Cool to think about.
It's pretty cool. It's ingenious. But then you rotate around and very catchy music in here. Really cool story with it too. That just the fact that you're sticking with the same family throughout all these different time periods and everything.
That dad is so awesome.
Oh yeah, dad goals.
Tentacles.
And then the last ride in Disney World, really, or in Magic Kingdom,
As we've run down this list, yeah,
is Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin.
So this is a fun ride. It's a dark ride, and you have a little laser gun, and you're in a little pod, and you can rotate your pod.
Yeah.
And there's targets, and they're worth different points, and
Highly interactive.
highly interactive. You can
Very competitive.
very competitive. It's always
fun.
fun to go on this one. And there's little secrets and tips you can pick up. We're not going to reveal any because we don't want you guys to beat our high scores.
We're not. We might be a little spoiler alerty with the movies, but not on the attraction.
No way, man. Not when it's a high score at stake.
Not giving you those secrets.
Well, so that runs down a lot of the attractions.
Yeah, and then there's some dining.
Oh, yeah, there's dining.
There are 5 dining spots in here.
Mostly kind of quick service, right? All quick service.
I think they're all quick service.
Yeah, all quick service.
And kind of like beverage snack options.
Yeah, so a couple quick service and some beverage and
One
snacks.
thing we didn't do with Tomorrowland, though, that we did, I think we skipped over it a little bit with Fantasyland, too, is the theme of it.
Oh.
So do you want to hop back to Fantasyland?
So hopping back to Fantasyland, obviously the theming, well, not obviously, but the theming is...
It's fantasy.
It's fantasy, so it's castles and
kind of like... It's more medieval-y.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to put it.
It's got a little medieval undertone to it.
Yeah.
And
then some individual theming for different areas of rides and stuff, too.
Yeah, when you get over to like the new Fantasyland part, I know they built like a bit of the castle wall right there, so you feel like you're walking outside of the safety of the castle.
In fact, if you look at the two sides, so the one side facing in towards the main castle, towards the big castle, is nice, and on the other side is all kind of ruined and
got vines growing all over it.
Yeah, so it's kind of to go into the other lands of different fantasy, where you have Ariel and you have Beauty and the Beast. So
yeah, and then there's also a little area where it's circus themed over by Dumbo.
Yeah, which is
it's fitting.
Makes sense. Dumbo was a circus, so
so it's a conglomerate of fantasy icons.
Yeah, definitely. And then
Tomorrowland,
going back to Tomorrowland to talk about theming is very much
it's the city,
future.
Kind of this Tomorrowland, fun fact, this one is themed around a city of the future.
Okay.
And the one over at Disneyland, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we get to that episode, is more of a space port or a port.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Of the future.
Thinking about it and going back in my memory of all of it. Yeah, that makes sense.
You look at the architecture of this. I mean, you got your Monsters, Inc. and Stitch are your main two. It kind of has a main street of its own.
Yeah, you kind of come in through from the hub. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's got Space Mountain back in the corner, and there's stories behind it. There's a few palm trees lined up by Space Mountain, and when you exit Space Mountain, you come into the power company.
Yeah.
And one of the palm trees closest to the power company is actually folded up. They're metal palm trees.
Yeah.
And it's folded up, and it doesn't have any coconuts on it. And the story behind that is the palm trees gather solar energy, and then they store them in the coconuts. And so when you take off your coconuts, they're like batteries.
Oh, so that one's shut down.
The palm trees fold up, and its coconuts are being
kind of fun. I never knew
being discharged right now. Which there's always stuff like that throughout every land. You just gotta find it and get into it a bit.
So then, talking about every land, let's talk about our quick, because we're hitting a long time here.
Oh yeah,
our favorite 3 attractions.
All right.
So why don't you go first?
My number 3 from my number 1 is my favorite attraction at Magic Kingdom, and we're sticking to Magic Kingdom just because that's what the episode is. My number 3 is the Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
I love this ride. It's the best version of this ride in the States. And
like you said, it has more rooms than
it has more rooms than Disneyland.
Version. Yeah.
It is. There are some of the effects aren't quite as good as Disneyland's, but overall it is a high quality, very entertaining, very re-rideable attraction.
Definitely. No, I don't disagree. I had a hard time coming up with the top 3. The top 3 we kind of felt restricting again, we said 50 attractions. So
over 50
attractions. Yeah. I mean, we could do a top 50, really, but
rank them all.
So then my number 3 is Pirates.
Yeah,
I think kind of same for you. It's a good theming. It's a really fun ride. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. It's a boat ride.
It's a boat ride.
Can't
It's
complain
nice
about
and cool. I love it.
I had a hard time picking between Pirates and Haunted Mansion. I think Haunted Mansion just edged out just barely over it because it's a little bit longer
I can
over
see
in
that.
Disney
yeah.
World, and it's got a lot more to look at, which, like I
True.
said before, I like to look at things.
Ooh, shiny. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
I could see that. You're kind of a roller coaster
I
guy.
am a huge roller coaster buff. Big Thunder Mountain provides a lot of airtime, a lot of lateral G-forces.
It's true.
Which pushes you side to side. Airtime gets you out of your seat. And I think it's the most at
Don't ever
Magic
ride it with
Kingdom.
me because I just squish people.
Yeah, riding it with my dad's always fun.
I got seated with some poor little kid one time. We were the odd number in our parties, and he was like, "I'm like, sorry, dude." And I tried so hard not to squish him.
You're pulling on the side, trying not to lean over and hit him.
It is a great ride. A really good roller coaster, really good theming.
Oh, incredible theming. You don't really know the track layout on that. Yeah, like you can see about 3 to 5 feet in front of you, but beyond that,
Well, and one of my favorite things, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but I love standing there and photographing it because there are times where it looks like the train is coming out of one way and going in the other, and it's actually separate trains, but they lay it out that like one goes in this tunnel and one comes out that tunnel, and
the way they time it with everything is it's really cool.
Really well designed ride. So my number 2, similarly, is Space Mountain.
Oh man, your number 2 is my number 1.
Oh man, that worked out funny. Well, also, I mean, I love Space Mountain. It's such a thrill. I love being in the dark. I said, you can eventually learn the track.
Yeah, but it takes forever.
And you can get some airtime on this, especially if you're sitting in the back.
There's one really big drop in it too that you get whatever seat you're sitting in.
Oh,
you're guaranteed to get out. It's fantastic, and you never know when it's gonna hit. It's really great.
I love Space Mountain.
Space Mountain, it's just the unknown of it, and just it is very pitch black in there.
Oh yeah.
There is one part of it that's lit up that you can kind of see when you're coming close to it.
Yeah.
The lift hill when you're going up there.
Which is kind of, it feels like you're taking a lift off too at the lift hill, which is kind of cool.
And I mean, the way that they lay it out with the 2 tracks kind of they go up the lift hill together.
Yeah.
And then they kind of branch off of.
And there's a time where you come by the lift hill too. I love screaming my lungs out at that point because I want to freak people out. Like, oh my gosh, what kind of ride are we on?
This is terrifying.
That guy was screaming so loud.
Last time, we went over Christmas as a family, and my mom and my older sister got on one track, and me and my brothers were on a different track.
Oh, nice.
And we actually were on the tracks at the same time.
So
we were going up the lift hill at the same time, and I look over and I see them, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really funny how that worked out.
That is funny. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's interesting.
No, yeah, and I mean it's a very thrilling ride.
It is
very
enjoyable,
very unknown, very high rideability just because you can't see where you're going, and it takes a while to learn the layout.
Yeah,
and it does have some really cool effects in there too.
No, definitely.
So that's my number 1,
and
your
my
number 2.
I had a really hard time with it. So I looked at it this way, and the way because my number 1 is going to seem kind of odd after we talked about thrills and theming and all these other things, but
yeah, and how much we like that kind of stuff.
But I think my number 1, I kind of looked and my thought was, what's the one thing I get on, and I'm going, okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
I've arrived,
and
that's the People Mover.
This tells you that you're in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, you get on that, and like as old as that ride is, as out of date, again, we'll probably talk about all that in a later episode of kind of maybe what needs to be updated. But it's not the most up to date. It's not the most exciting. It's not the most thrilling ride, but it is unique to Disney World.
Now.
It
didn't used to be.
But it's unique to Disney World. It's one of those things that sticks out in my memory as a kid going there. So just overall, it again, I get on and I go, okay, I'm here. I've made it.
Yeah,
We're in the Magic Kingdom now.
And so now, I mean, the People Mover, it's not a thrilling ride.
No.
You basically sit there and
there's a little speed occasionally, but you basically follow a track and you get a tour of Tomorrowland.
Yeah. And you get to go into like
a
Space
lot of
Mountain.
the ride,
You go around the Carousel of Progress right there.
You
I
go
think you
into
get to see a little bit of Buzz Lightyear right there, don't you?
Yeah, you go in and you can see some of the game.
Yeah. It's really cool. and it is beloved by the Disney community.
Yeah.
And the only reason it didn't make it on my top 3 list was because of Space Mountain.
It was
because of Space Mountain. I mean, I would keep the other 2, and it was debate between Space Mountain and the People Mover.
Well, that's good to hear. We're not totally off.
Yeah.
So then the other thing we kind of talked about a little bit when we kind of ran down through the park was food. There's a lot of options, and so
there's a ton.
Again, we could probably do a top 50 list
of food alone.
But let's do our top 3. I'll go first this time since you went first last time. So my number 3 is Liberty Tree Tavern, but for dinner. So lunch is a normal menu where you order like, I want the roast beef and potatoes. Dinner is like what do they call it? All you care to have or whatever.
All you care to eat or
all
whatever.
You care to eat or whatever. They don't call it all you can eat. It's all you care to eat. Like you have to make the choice.
I'm on a diet.
Yeah.
I only care to eat.
I only care to eat.
Sticks.
Yeah. But it's really good kind of home food, and it's really hearty. And so, like after a long day at the park for dinner, it's really fun.
You hit that, and then you head over to your hotel and pass
sleep.
out.
Yeah, because you've been running all day.
Yeah.
So what's your number 3?
My number 3. It's not technically a restaurant, and it did come up a little earlier.
I know we should have maybe put a definition on this, but I like it.
But I mean, it draws me into Adventureland, and it's the Sunshine Tree Terrace,
where you get your Dole Whip.
You get your Dole Whip, and you get your citrus oil. Double fist in it. Come on.
Do you really do that?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I spent $10.
That's a lot of food or a lot of soft serve.
I spent $10.
Frozen treats.
$10. Got to go into my tiki room with that.
Well, so my number 2, we could probably do a whole episode on character meet and greets, but I love this one for the characters and for the food, and it's the Crystal Palace, which is right at the end of Main Street.
Oh yeah.
Right before you kind of take your left to go to Adventureland.
Yeah.
And it's a Winnie the Pooh
and
friends party, and then they have really good breakfast food too. So it's really good restaurant.
It's good food, good company.
And again, when you're kind of starting out a long day,
you want to start on
a park.
You're
going to start on a high note with a character, and you kind of secret tip here: you can always book a reservation before the park opens, and you get a little time in the park. Walking down Main Street or to the hub,
and
you
can get some really cool photographs. You've got some fantastic ones
in the morning there because
nobody's there.
Nobody's there yet because the park's not open, and they limit you to the hub. But
hey, you can get some really
while
cool,
you're waiting for your table or whatever. So
you can get some really cool sign pics of.
So it's also a great one too.
Yeah, that's awesome. My number 2, it's over in Tomorrowland. I just like it because when you look out, I mean I have a really good memory here of it was after the fireworks, and it was like me, my dad, and my brother. We were sitting at this restaurant looking out, and there was just masses of people. This is when we went in between Christmas and New Year.
I was about to say, because this one's actually not open when I usually go.
No, it's seasonal, for sure. But this was between Christmas and New Year. Busiest time to go, and there were just masses of people. Like, it looked like a flood of people was walking out of Disney World right there, right out of Magic Kingdom. And it's the Tomorrowland Terrace restaurant right there.
Yeah.
I love the rock work right there. I love the view of the hub that you get, the view of the castle.
Have you ever done the dessert party for the fireworks show?
I have not.
No. I've always thought that'd be fun, too.
I've considered it, and I think it might be worth it this next time that I go, but
I could see it.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the view there. You just see, I mean, it's you look over a bit of rock work because there are some rocks right there at the Tomorrowland Terrace, and you look over it and you can see the castle peeking out. Depending on where you sit, you see the castle peeking out, and this is that spot. You were saying, I'm here when you ride the People Mover. This puts me in the Magic Kingdom.
Nice.
Especially at night.
Good.
Especially at night.
So my number 1 is Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe with a little asterisk. Not for the food. I think the food's fine, but it's very basic. This is kind of what, when people think about theme park food or amusement park food.
This is it.
This is chicken fingers, this is burgers, this is hot dogs, this is pizza.
Nothing special about the food.
Nothing special about the food, but
you get Cosmic Ray.
You get Cosmic Ray singing you sweet songs. and one of the best condiment bars too. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. They have like nacho cheese and like any sauce you can think of is on this condiment bar.
Really?
Yeah, like free nacho cheese.
Oh, I need to hit that up.
Which is funny because if you get a pretzel in other parts of the park, they charge you for nacho cheese. But here it's just on a pump on the condiment table.
Little hack right there.
Little hack right there for you. So
yeah,
it's more for the theming. It kind of almost one of those ones like if I go see Cosmic Ray, I'm like, all right, I'm here. I'm in the Magic Kingdom. Because, again, a unique experience to the Walt Disney World, to Magic Kingdom. That's fun and kind of silly in a way because it's a singing audio animatronic alien.
That people go...
Singing a lounge singer kind of music.
And it is a great show, too. And it's very entertaining.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
He makes a bunch of pun jokes. So
dad jokes.
Yeah, I'll take it.
My number one is over in Fantasyland. Be Our Guest restaurant.
See, and this one almost topped into my 3, but I went with Cosmic Rays. But
it is beautifully themed. You feel like you're in the castle.
Oh, totally.
Beast's castle. It is incredible.
Good food too.
Delicious food. Probably the best turkey sandwich I've ever had.
Yeah, I think I had the turkey sandwich too. Actually,
it's very good.
Maybe I had the roast beef sandwich. I don't know. I had one of the sandwiches.
I was reading some blog where it was like, I mean, the menu might look a little bland, but everything's flavorful.
Yeah, you think like, oh, a turkey sandwich, but no, it's like it's
really
delicious.
Good
turkey sandwich.
It's worth it. And I went during lunch, so the menu was
I've only been
different
during
dinner.
lunch. Yeah, dinner's a whole nother.
Yeah, dinner's very expensive. Well, a bit more expensive.
But I agree with you. Really, really good theming on this restaurant. Really good everything. Food, the whole experience is awesome.
Yeah, it goes the whole 9 yards in this restaurant.
Even the queue to get in there is like
it's worth waiting in a little bit because I mean you have some guards standing there that they like to
the suits of armor in the hallway there that
and they
crack jokes.
They're a little funny every now and then. Yeah, that's my number one.
Nice.
And you can explore different parts of the castle that you normally wouldn't be able to see other than just in a still frame from the movie.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
No, it's really cool.
Well worth it. Even if you're not eating there, just walk in.
Yeah.
See if you can walk in, kind of bypass.
They might stop you, but yeah.
Go through the exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does it for restaurants for us.
I think the last thing we just need to kind of just say exists is there's fireworks at night called Wishes.
And there's castle shows. They just opened up a new one. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's like Mickey's. They keep that updated.
Yeah.
Which when I say castle show, there's a stage show.
Stage show in the middle of the day at some point.
Yeah.
Or a couple times during the day.
Multiple times.
Which is, again, if your kid loves Mickey or the princesses, a lot of times the princesses come out.
Just characters in general.
Yeah.
This is an easy way to see a lot of them.
So then at night, there's Wishes, the fireworks show, which is really...
And right before it, there's...
A projection
show on the castle, which is really cool and very updated as well.
And then the big parade is the Festival of Fantasy, which has this really amazing dragon float. I don't know what you call it.
I guess it's a float.
I mean, it's in a parade.
It's very steampunk-esque. And
it shoots fire.
Spits fire.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's awesome.
It's really cool.
So those are not to be missed either.
Yeah, especially if your kid likes the parade atmosphere, or even if you like the parade atmosphere. I know a ton of adults like going there and watching just the parade. But yeah, I mean those exist, and there are things to do, and Wishes is a fantastic way to end your night there.
Oh, absolutely.
Watch Wishes. If you're really wanting to hop on a ride, what I like doing is watching the fireworks, then sprinting over
and getting on something
to Space Mountain. There's never a wait
because everybody else is still stuck in the fireworks.
Well, yeah, most of the time fireworks are at the end of the day. They tend to wrap up about 5 minutes before park closes, just enough time to briskly walk over to Space Mountain. And one time, I was actually the last person out of the park.
Nice.
And it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Well, other than cast members, but it was really cool.
Well, that sounds like a great place to wrap it up for this week.
Yeah. I think that just about does it.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to email us. We're more than willing to, share some of our expertise or point in the right direction. Unmistakablymagic@gmail.com.
Yeah, we have resources. If we can't answer your questions, we'll reach out to them and
absolutely
get a definite answer for what you need to know.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to episode number 4 of the Unmistakably Magic Podcast.
Yeah.
Please check out our social media, Unmistakably Mag on Twitter, Unmistakably Magic on Instagram, Facebook.com/Unmistakably Magic.
We did open a Spreadshirt recently. Unmistakablymagic.spreadshirt.com.
Okay. That's always a good support for us. I mean, keeps the show going.
Keeps us going. Maybe bring in a few little new visual things.
That's right.
Maybe some audio upgrades later on.
Again, don't hesitate to email us, unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. Questions, concerns, comments.
Whatever you want to say. Show ideas,
whatever you got for us.
critiques.
Big thank you to our friend Dylan over at Blast Off Branding, as always, for making our logo. Check out our friends over at Unmistakably Star Wars. They're always entertaining to listen to.
Yeah, they always bring in a lot of really cool insights that a lot of connections that I wouldn't really make. I know. They did an episode that I recently listened to. It's an older episode, but it's like Star Wars in real life.
Yeah.
kind of the connection between the two. Of
Totally.
The galaxy and how it relates to us.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They do bring a lot of insight.
Definitely check them out. Well, Court, you got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Have a magical week.
See you real soon.